In 1936, just outside of Baghdad, workers digging for a new railway stumbled upon an ancient grave. It was a typical archaeological find for the region until they brushed the dust off one particular clay pot. What they found inside would ignite a debate that has raged for nearly a century. It was a simple jar, but inside was a copper cylinder sealed at the top with asphalt, and through the center of that seal, an iron rod. No jewels, no intricate carvings, just a jar, a copper tube, and an iron rod. But according to some, this unassuming object is one of history's most profound and terrifying mysteries, because what they were looking at was a battery. A 2,000-year-old battery. The man who first had this radical idea was Wilhelm König, a German archaeologist and director of the National Museum of Iraq. In 1938, he examined this collection of parts and discovered what no one else had, a galvanic cell. The principle is simple, and it's the same one that powers the battery in your phone right now. Two different metals, suspended in an acidic liquid, will generate a small electrical current. In this case, the metals are iron and copper. Fill the jar with an electrolyte, something like vinegar or wine or even lemon juice, and the chemical reaction begins. The iron rod corrodes and electrons flow to the copper cylinder. It works. It genuinely works. In the 1940s, an American engineer named Willard Gray built a replica. He poured grape juice into his model and generated half a volt of electricity. Half a volt! Later, the Mythbusters team connected 10 of these things and managed to generate 4 volts, enough to electroplate a small medallion with gold. The proof of concept is undeniable. The Baghdad Battery can function as a primitive battery. So the question isn't, can it work? The real, much darker question is, why did they need it? If this were a battery, its purpose was lost to time. But that hasn't stopped us from looking into the shadows of history for an answer. And the theories get progressively stranger. Theory 1. The practical application. Ancient electroplating. Koenig's original theory was that the Parthians used these cells for electroplating, to deposit a thin layer of gold onto silver objects, creating beautiful, gilded religious artifacts. It's a compelling idea. The technology fits, but there's a problem. We've never found any electroplated objects from that time and place. The gilding we have found uses a different known technique called mercury gilding. So where's the evidence? Theory 2. The medical marvel. Ancient pain relief. This theory is chilling. What if these weren't tools for artisans, but instruments for healers? Or perhaps for priests? Researcher Paul Kaser proposed that linked batteries could have been used for a primitive form of electroacupuncture, a mild shock to numb pain or treat ailments like gout. And this isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. We know the ancient Greeks and Romans used the electrical charge from torpedo fish to treat headaches and gout. Was the Baghdad Battery a way to harness that same power, to summon the jolt of a living creature from a vessel of clay and metal? And then we have the darkest theory. What if this power wasn't for healing, but for control? Imagine a statue in a dark, smoky temple. A worshiper is told to touch the hand of the god. A priest, unseen, connects a wire from a hidden bank of these jars. A tingling, shock, a divine vibration courses through the worshiper's arm. Behold, the priest would say, the god has touched you. It's a perfect miracle, a way to make faith tangible, to make the divine literally felt, a tool to make believers out of skeptics. Was the Baghdad Battery not a tool of science, but but a weapon of psychological and spiritual power.
But just as we're falling down the rabbit hole of ancient technology and divine manipulation, we have to stop. And we have to listen to the other side, the mainstream archaeologists. Because to them, this isn't a mystery at all. Their explanation is far more mundane, and for them, far more logical. The Baghdad Battery was never a battery. They argue it was a sacred scroll jar. The copper cylinder wasn't an electrode, it was a protective case. Inside, they would place precious papyrus or parchment scrolls, and the bitumen seal kept the contents safe from moisture and insects. In fact, similar sealed vessels have been found in other sites, some with scrolls still inside. They point out the fatal flaws in the battery theory. Where are the wires? Where are the connected terminals? If they were so common, why have we only found a handful? And most damning of all, why is there not a single ancient text, not one piece of contemporary writing that describes anything remotely like generating or using electricity? The skeptics say we're seeing what we want to see. We're projecting our world onto a simple storage jar. So where does that leave us? With an object that can generate electricity but may never have been used for it. With a tantalizing what-if that may forever be unprovable. And there's one final tragic twist to this story. The original Baghdad Battery is gone. It was housed in the National Museum of Iraq in Baghdad, and in the looting and chaos that followed the 2003 invasion, it vanished. Lost, perhaps forever. The very artifact that held the secret is now itself a mystery. We're left with two histories. One, a simple story of a jar that held a scroll. The other, a darker, more thrilling tale of a technology lost to time. A spark of knowledge that flickered in the ancient world and was snuffed out, leaving us to wonder just how advanced they really were. The choice of which story to believe is now yours.